Summary of the Storm We Made, a novel written by Vanessa. Chapter 1. Bintang, a once idyllic town cradled between hills, found itself ensnared in the unforgiving grip of wartime despair during the Japanese occupation in the 1940s. The haunting echoes of the town's tragedy reverberated through the pages of history, centering on the lives of its residents, particularly the Alcantara family led by Cecily. The tale began with the ominous presence of the Chin brothers, 5 hulking figures with narrow foreheads and broad shoulders. Boon Kong, the middle brother, vanished without a trace, leaving the town in a state of bewildered uncertainty. The Chins, known for their wealth and cruelty during British rule, were now overshadowed by the mystery of Boon Kong's disappearance. Mrs. Tan speculated that he had run away, while Puanazreen feared a more sinister fate. Cecily, ever observant, noted the Chin family's withdrawal into their own enclave, signaling the beginning of a series of mysterious vanishings that would plague Bintang. As the Chin brothers' notoriety faded into the background, the town became a stage for a disquieting succession of disappearances. The thin boy from the graveyard, the plump boy behind the sundry shop, and the ghoul-eyed voyeur at the girls' school, all succumbed to forces unseen. The air thickened with unease, and the town's once familiar streets became imbued with a sense of foreboding. Yet, the disappearances unfolded with a swift, almost clandestine quality, as though the missing boys had slipped away unnoticed, afraid to offend. In the heart of this growing turmoil, the narrative shifted focus to Cecily's immediate neighborhood, where the nephew of the couple next door and the son of the town's doctor joined the list of the missing. Bintang, with its singular road, one chemist, and separate schools for boys and girls, found its unity unraveling. The quiet worry that had once lingered in the shadows emerged into hushed conversations and cautious glances. The smallness of the town, once its charm, now magnified the impact of each disappearance. Old Uncle Chong, proprietor of Chong Sin Ki's sundry shop, dared to voice the collective anxiety that hung heavy in the air. Is it not enough that they starve us and beat us and take away our schools and our lives? Must they come for our children too? His words resonated, echoing the frustrations of a community caught in the crossfire of war. The disappearance of the Chin brothers seemed like an isolated incident, but now it became evident that the specter of loss loomed over every household. The story then delved into Cecily's personal tragedy. Initially welcoming the Japanese with a naive hope for liberation, she had waved at the military convoy, celebrating what she believed to be a release from British rule. However, the new masters proved to be more brutal than the old ones. Schools shuttered, soldiers patrolled the streets, and fear replaced the initial optimism. Cecily's nightly roll call for her 3 children became a ritual born out of desperation, a futile attempt to assert control over a life slipping into chaos. As the oppressive reality unfolded, her anxiety escalated. The disappearance of her son, Abel, on his 15th birthday, shattered the fragile facade of normalcy. The guilt that had simmered beneath the surface erupted, as Cecily realized the consequences of her own actions. Abel's absence triggered a ripple effect in the Alcantara household. Gordon, Cecily's husband, grappled with newfound humility as he joined the search for their missing son. The neighbors, once eager to console, withdrew as the weeks passed, leaving Cecily to navigate her grief alone. The camaraderie that briefly flourished during the search for Abel dwindled as the town succumbed to the weight of its own fears. The disappearance of one child had given rise to a collective paranoia, and the once friendly faces now averted their eyes, unwilling to confront the vulnerability that lurked beneath the surface. The story reached its emotional zenith as Abel's dried, weedy flowers, once a source of pride for Cecily, met a tragic end during a thunderstorm. The shattered vase and broken stems mirrored the irreparable damage inflicted upon the town. Cecily, bleeding from her futile attempt to salvage the remnants, symbolized the futility of trying to mend what had been broken. The storm, both literal and metaphorical, underscored the uncontrollable forces that had shattered the delicate equilibrium of Cecily's world. In the aftermath of Abel's disappearance, the once supportive neighbors hesitated at the threshold of the Alcantara household. The women, who had once assured Cecily that all would be well, now found her ungrateful for the consolations they offered. Cecily's inability to conform to the expected expressions of grief baffled and frustrated her neighbors. She did not say thank you when they delivered food, did not make tea when they waited at the door to be invited in, and did not cry or collapse in the expected manner. Instead, she clung to her pain as a shield, her eyes darting everywhere, as though ready to pounce on what they couldn't fathom. Cecily's unconventional grief became a source of discomfort for those who sought to offer solace. As the disappearance of Abel unfolded, the narrative painted a poignant picture of a town in disarray, its social fabric torn apart by the grim realities of war. The disappearances, each a silent scream, echoed the collective trauma of a community thrust into the darkness of uncertainty. Bintang, once a haven, became a haunting reflection of the human cost of conflict, leaving scars that would linger long after the war's end. The narrative's exploration of loss, survival, and the impact of war on a small community offered a profound meditation on the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. Chapter 2. Cecily Alcantara's life unfolded against the backdrop of Malaya's colonial tapestry, a complex mosaic woven with threads of history, conquest, and cultural collisions. Her family, Eurasian descendants of Portuguese colonizers who arrived in the 1500s, carried the weight of their ancestry like a delicate heirloom. Cecily's mother, proud of the speckle of whiteness in their blood, took pleasure in sweeping her judgment-laden eyes over others, emphasizing their European heritage in a land shaped by diverse influences. As a child, Cecily grappled with the contradictions within her Eurasian identity. Their community encompassed individuals of various skin tones, yet Cecily couldn't find anyone with the same white and pink blotchy skin as the British colonizers. Despite her mother's insistence that they were nearly white, Cecily felt a disconnect that intensified as she observed the striking differences between her family and the British. In the early 1900s, Cecily navigated the societal expectations that dictated her role as a woman in a British colony. Her sister, Catherine, embraced the conventional path by marrying a British officer and ascending to the title of Lady Abbot. Meanwhile, Cecily found herself leading a life that, despite its apparent functionality, left her with an unbearable sense of discontent. Her discontent manifested in secret fantasies of rebellion, a desire to break free from the constraints of societal expectations. The routine of domestic life, marked by the daily rituals of making breakfast for her husband Gordon and their two children, Jujube and Abel, became a facade for the simmering unrest within her. The monotony of her existence drove her to harbor dark fantasies, contemplating acts of defiance that made her sick with shame. The narrative takes a dramatic turn on a November afternoon in 1935. Cecily, knee-deep in refuse, scavenging for an assignment, is startled by the brittle voice of Fujiwara, a mysterious figure who disrupts their usual clandestine meeting. Fujiwara brings news of an alliance between Germany, Italy, and Japan that could reshape the future of Malaya. The revelation sparks a sense of hope in Cecily, aligning with the dreams she and Fujiwara shared of a liberated Asia, free from British imperialists. This shared vision cements their bond, as Fujiwara becomes not only her spymaster but a source of connection in a world that confines her. Fujiwara's entrance into Cecily's life marked a significant shift. A merchant from Hong Kong initially known as Bingley Chan, he intrigued the British community, commanding respect despite his Asian heritage. Gordon, Cecily's husband, welcomed Bingley as a frequent guest, reveling in the perceived elevation of their status through his connections. What began as nights of camaraderie, whiskey, and laughter soon evolved into a peculiar friendship. The two men, Gordon and Bingley, would lean back in rattan chairs, their laughter resonating in the Alcantara house. Cecily, initially playing the role of the gracious host, found herself increasingly involved in the rituals of these nightly encounters. As Gordon succumbed to whiskey-induced slumber, it fell upon Cecily and Bingley to transport him to bed. What started as a seemingly innocent gesture morphed into moments of lingering after Gordon's bedtime, where Bingley and Cecily engaged in conversations that transcended the mundane. Bingley began to share confidences with Cecily, exposing the vulnerabilities hidden beneath his stoic exterior. He spoke of the persistent prejudice he faced from the British, detailing the names and mockery hurled at him. In moments of intimacy, he divulged the pain of losing his infant son and the strain it put on his relationship. Cecily, in turn, found herself opening up about her disillusionment with the British, the shame she felt from societal snubs, and the challenges she encountered in raising her Eurasian children in a world defined by racial hierarchies. Their late-night conversations revealed the shared struggles of two individuals navigating the complexities of identity and societal expectations. Bingley's vulnerability became a point of connection, breaking down the barriers Cecily had meticulously erected around her emotions. As he revealed his raw, broken self, Cecily found herself drawn to him in a way that transcended mere friendship. The dynamic between Cecily and Fujiwara deepened further as their relationship evolved into a partnership with a shared mission. Fujiwara, unveiling the alliance between Germany, Italy, and Japan, spoke of a future where Asians could determine their own destiny, free from the shackles of British imperialism. Cecily, inspired by this vision, felt propelled toward a sense of purpose and change. The whispers of liberation and a redefined identity resonated in the air, creating a bridge between the disenchanted Eurasian woman and the mysterious spymaster. Fujiwara's visits became more than clandestine meetings, they transformed into pivotal moments in Cecily's life. As they navigated the turbulent waters of history and personal struggles, a profound connection blossomed between them. The alliance between Germany, Italy, and Japan served as a symbol of hope, a promise of change that resonated deeply with Cecily's yearning for liberation. The story captured a poignant moment in Cecily's life, where the tides of history, personal struggles, and the promise of change converged. It delved into themes of identity, societal expectations, and the complexities of relationships against the backdrop of a colonial era. Cecily and Fujiwara's journey hinted at a future where liberation and a redefined sense of self were within reach, marking a transformative chapter in the tumultuous history of Malaya.